You're watching Camnet News. My name is Sharon Kalimbola. We look at the stories making headlines. Kasempa's Lowofo Ward residents in election boho bonanza. COVID-19 claims 23 more lives as TVET workers go for months without salaries. ZRA boss Kingsley Chanda unleashes venom on the Chamber of Mines. And in international news, Beirut blast pushes economy to age as many remain missing. In sports news, FAS MTN Super League champions to be decided on Saturday. Join me shortly for the details.
Msika is here. We have you all covered with just 150 kwacha. You can advertise every day from 17 hours to 18 hours. For a 30-second ad, get the benefit of selling your products and services on Msika. For more details, call our marketing department on +260 953 995099 +260 962 444 726 or +260 971 177 467. Email us on info@camnettvafrica.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Thank you so much for joining us. The details. The lack of adherence to COVID-19 guidelines by government officials and non-enforcement of the statutory instrument SI number 21 and 22 is now making Zambians doubt statistics being given to the Zambian public. In this vein, Bar and Nightclub Owners Association also feels that government should just allow them to reopen their businesses, stating that the laxity by government in fighting the disease clearly shows that there is no COVID-19. The details in this report.
Workers at bars and nightclubs have asked government to consider opening bars and nightclubs before they turn to begging on the streets.
You have been affected. You find you're supposed to pay rent, then you're supposed to buy what to eat, and then back then we could manage because it was easy. Now it's layer. Our sales can't compare them like the way we used to do back then. Our sales for now they've gone down, and then when it comes to our salaries, quite a lot we've been paid, but not like the way we used to be paid that side or before. It's different like now, looking at the situation.
President was about to give an address last time. We even did some orders, and those orders that we did last time, they are worth about more about 40,000-50,000 somewhere there. If you look at in that money that we invest in, when it comes to this time around, that money has gone down because of the same this pandemic.
These are some of the workers, one a cashier and another one a disc jockey, commonly known as a DJ, who have revealed to Camnet TV just how their lives have become difficult due to loss of business.
Like these days, if I sell a lot, it could be 2,000. That's absurd. By then we could sell maybe 8, 9.
That's in a day?
Yeah, in a day. By then we could sell up to that much, especially weekends, and then when there are games, we could sell up to that much. Now for now, it's just a takeaway. If we sell a lot, it should be 2 or 3. The business has really gone down.
The situation again, if you go in town, let me just say City Market itself. You find that that place is crowded. When it comes to evenings or mornings, you find that people, a lot of people, they don't even have their masks. So when it comes to the club, I think that's not even a big problem.
They have revealed their employers do not make enough money to manage paying them their full salaries. They went ahead and questioned government what is the difference between the crowds in markets and buses and those that are found in bars and nightclubs, including the crowds that were witnessed when the president commissioned the flyover bridge on Kafue Road. It has been about 5 months now since bars and nightclubs have been closed and they only operate on a takeaway basis. Constance Mwemba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
In other news, the euphoria caused on the 30th of July ward by-election is finally over. However, the people of Kasempa's Lobofo ward have something to continue celebrating about following several boreholes drilled by the PF government in the area during the by-election. Details in this report.
The 30th of July 2020 local government ward by-elections across the country are over, with the winners and losers known at this stage. Regardless of who won and lost, the people of Kasempa's Lobofo ward in the northwestern province are winners in their own right, in the sense that the by-election saw government through the ruling Patriotic Front PF-led government drilling several boreholes in Lobofo and the Nyoka wards where by-elections were taking place. This borehole, which is about 8 kilometers from Lobofo Secondary School, was drilled just at the start of political campaigns and was commissioned even without non-completion of works, as can be seen. The PF, who were in charge of the borehole at the time of documentation of this report, argue that there is nothing wrong for the PF government to take development to an area where by-elections are taking place, stating that what is key is a service being delivered.
By-election. So, bena kwa mamba ba PF bareta mabo pano twasajire no ba MP kuno Kasempa abo mabo bakaleta ngankimye amba kufunya kimwe kyoti wasajire kwikara ba MP bajanji kupita po kuno ba yukanero katajurwa mema na kushota abantu ne urede muno mujime existing boss akusha ba MMD ne ba PF bapangire po ngabo pa first pono kachikiye mba po ya bo kuno mama mbo campaign kaji mu campaign motu yukira makatajurwa jina abantu kumpunja goba jine byobe na kujira ba MP basajire ba MP betu twasajire muno munanigere mu Kasempa constituency. She has failed us. Bakankara completely. 4 years yonseye, she's doing nothing. Obaringire kupitanga nanga. Obaringire kupitana kuno kubo. Pone bamuna mbako yobamuna mba the former honorable Kabinga Pande. Pokumba kuzira kwa abantu. Kekele kwa maintenance tukobe rob kajari tupoishe mbowe.
Lusaka Central Member of Parliament Margaret Mwanakatwe's election victory was annulled by the Lusaka High Court for, among other reasons, drilling boreholes in Bowlen compound at the heat of the 2016 general elections. Back to Kasempa. This is another borehole drilled in Lobofo ward. This one was drilled 2 weeks prior to the voting day. Kasempa District Council Chairperson Kaindo Stanley argues that this kind of development is wrong, as it is meant to sway voters to vote for the candidate whose party is bringing such development, thereby disadvantaging others.
The reason why it's substandard is that the period is too short. The way it's supposed to be done, we are supposed to put the cement here, the slab. You put a slab here, which can be cured for 7 days before using it. Unfortunately, they have started using it even before putting a slab here. So we don't know even the extent of contamination which is inside it. And this water has not even been taken to the laboratory for testing. So we don't know the outcome.
Even at this borehole, the PF were also in charge as Mwinlunga Member of Parliament, Newton Samakai, adds his voice to this matter.
I think this is a clear example of a government that is on its way out. You just have to look at what they have done here. It was done in a hurry because of the by-election that is in this area.
Foreign Affairs Minister Kabinga Pande, who was UPND 2016 aspiring candidate but was not adopted and now actively working with the PF, refused to comment on this topic despite several attempts. After all was said and done, PF's Lobofo ward candidate Kavinda Geoffrey emerged victorious, beating UPND's Rogers Shilangwa. Kalan Muchima reporting for Camnet News, Kasempa District, Northwestern Province.
The Zambia Revenue Authority, ZRA, has described the recently released statement attributed to the Zambia Chamber of Commerce Management as being reckless. The Zambia Chamber of Mines, in a document titled A Policy Brief for a Post-COVID-19 Zambian Economy, The Road to Recovery, claimed that government through ZRA owed the mining industry in excess of $1 billion in unpaid VAT refunds. But this statement has not sat well with ZRA boss, who has advised the chamber to stop commenting on matters it does not have full knowledge of. Mr. Chanda says the statement attributed to the chamber is not true and lacks substance. According to him, the correct position is that government is on course with its obligations, while the opposite is true, stating that mining companies are actually the ones owing the Zambian government. Mr. Chanda was speaking on the sidelines of the official opening of ZRA Service Center in Kitwe at Edgar Chagwa Lungu Shopping Mall. The ZRA boss has also announced an improvement in tax payment by mining companies.
The mining sector in Zambia in 2020 have contributed 6.94 billion, 6.49 billion, January 2020 to July 2020. For the same period in 2019, they contributed 5.47 billion. So you have 6.94 billion in 2020 and 5.47 billion in 2019. Therefore, overall, there has been a 27% increase in payments of the taxes from the mining industry. So this is completely contrary to the information that the Chamber of Mines. So what I want to say to the Chamber is that they must tell the truth. They may hate the leaders of this country, they may even hate ZRA, but they must not hate the country. Okay, we have a country to protect. If you issue such alarming statements and discourage investments in this country, it is not just those people in leadership that you hate who will suffer. It is all the Zambians. Okay? And I also want to state that there is no country that does not have confidentiality. But when you want to speak about confidential issues, because tax matters are confidential, and they're between the tax authority and the taxpayer. But when you choose to talk about confidential things, tell the truth, say facts, not myth, not lies. Okay? So I consider that statement by the chamber to be malicious and was just designed to destabilize the Zambian economy.
Government has donated relief mealie meal to 200 people whose crops were lost during the 2018-2019 farming season as a result of the effects of climate change in Kagumba community of Chisefo district. Chisefo Member of Parliament Gerald Zimba has since welcomed the development. Chisefo district has received 6,000 bags of relief mealie meal from the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit. Zanis has the details in this report.
Government has given relief mealie meal to 200 people whose crops were lost during the 2018-2019 farming season as a result of the effects of climate change in Kagunda community of Chisefo district. Chisefo Member of Parliament Gerald Zimba was at hand to deliver the relief mealie meal to the beneficiaries.
This is the relief maize that we got, mealie meal that we got from DMMU. After our cry to the president that the previous farming season we never did well here because of the rainfall pattern. So we cried to the president through DMMU. They've answered our prayer, they answered our call, and we received the 6,000 bags of medium relief maize. So this is part of the consignment that we're giving now. This is the PF's policy, the president's call. Like he's always talked about not leaving anyone behind. So this is the show that what we say, we mean what we say. So people of Chisefo have not been left behind. People of Gumba, to be specific, have not been left behind from the relief maize that has been allocated to Chisefo.
The recipients of the relief mealie meal were very happy with the gesture from government.
If mwachita vwemchomene, tindavonepo na kare chara, ae digampitilize gandi duruso iri mlinaro. Tuonga so Gerald Zimba, MP, bagula chito chomene pachimwachita ajera December mkuongeka kuno kukagumba tamongani chomene
nawonga chomene boma aediga plus na kansela plus na MP vitu aziga nguhonga chomene boma lagwira ntchito chomene tukata kuti izi lachita nindazionepo cha nguyamba kuonga.
Government is working in partnership with various stakeholders to find ways and solutions of mitigating climate change in Zambia. Sylvester Chimba reporting for the news in Chasefu District, Eastern Province.
The Zambian authorities has announced that 23 people have died from coronavirus in the last 24 hours. Briefing journalists in Lusaka on the latest COVID-19 statistics, Ministry of Health spokesperson Dr. Abel Caballo explains that out of the 23 deaths, 21 were brought in dead and 2 were facility deaths. Dr. Caballo further informs the nation that Zambia has recorded 142 new cases of COVID-19 out of 724 tests done in the last 24 hours. Let's get the details in this.
COVID-19 cases in Zambia have continued to surge. In the last 24 hours, the country has recorded a total of 142 new COVID cases out of the 724 tests done.
May I now take this opportunity to update you on the current statistics that the country has recorded in the last 24 hours. Zambia has recorded a total of 142 new cases of COVID-19 out of the 724 tests done in the last 24 hours. And this brings the cumulative total of COVID-19 cases to 7,164. Of these 142, the distribution is as follows. 50 individuals screened through routine screening. Here in Lusaka, we recorded 48. And then 1 came from Chipata, and then 1 came from Solwezi. 42 individuals were identified through hospital screening. 16 were identified in Solwezi. 14 Lusaka, 7 Ndola, and 5 Kabwe. 29 contacts to known cases. 28 were identified here in Lusaka, and then Kalumbila gave us 1. And then we also recorded 21 BIDs in Lusaka. 21 BIDs in Lusaka. UTH recorded 20, and Kanyama recorded 1. Among the cases, we have 80 patients currently admitted to isolation facilities. 37 of these are on oxygen support. 6 patients are admitted to the intensive care unit. We also have some bit of relief whereby 119 persons have been discharged in the last 24 hours across the country. And this brings our total cumulative recoveries to 5,786 since the beginning of the outbreak.
According to statistics given to the media, Ministry of Health spokesperson Abel Caballo says Zambia has recorded a total of 23 COVID-19 related deaths in the last 24 hours. Out of 23, 21 were brought in dead and 2 were facility deaths.
In addition to the BIDs, we have recorded 2 new COVID-related facility deaths. One 85-year-old male with severe COVID-19 pneumonia and underlying hypertension and diabetes. One 52-year-old male patient with severe pneumonia. Both deaths occurred at the Levy Isolation Center. This brings the cumulative number of COVID-related deaths to 199. Following the reclassification of the deaths in which the virus has been detected, it has been determined that 62 are COVID deaths, whilst 116 are COVID-related deaths. and then the 21 deaths are yet to be classified. COVID-associated deaths are those in whom COVID-19 was detected but not the primary cause of the death. In a nutshell, the cumulative number of COVID cases in the country now stands at 7,164, including 199 deaths and 5,786 recoveries.
Dr. Cavallo, who gave out COVID-19 statistics during the COVID-19 briefing in Lusaka, therefore stated that the cumulative total of the pandemic has hit 7,164 cases. Reporting for Camnet Television in Lusaka, Zambia, Namwinga Mwinga.
You're watching Camnet News. Just now we take our first set of commercials. Join me shortly for the rest of the news.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not pure glycerin.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
You're still watching Camnet News. Welcome back. The economic hardships have hit TVET institutions that depend on student user fees. But in the view of the COVID-19 pandemic, most TVET institutions remain closed, posing a financial challenge on families that depend on these institutions. National Union of Technical Education Lecturers and Allied Workers General Secretary Chikaiko Msipu tells Camnet TV News in an interview that such institutions have been badly affected to the extent that lecturers are going for months without salaries. Mr. Msipu is now calling on government to find ways of ameliorating the situation before things get out of hand. Mr. Msipu is also calling on government to pay bursary arrears for students in these institutions, which he says can help to pay emolument for some lecturers. In efforts to get a comment from the Ministry of Higher Education, in which the TVET institutions fall, was futile by broadcast time.
I would like to inform the nation that the TVET sector has not been spared on the effect of COVID, because all colleges, as at now, we don't have students who have paid the fees. As a result, a lot of colleges don't have salaries. For example, in June, this is June, July salary is only about 50% of the colleges had full salaries. Even big institutions like Northern Technical College, they have just paid half salary, which is a very serious issue, and we want to employ government to make sure that even the TVET sector should benefit on the COVID fund so that people can get their salaries. As a result of this, people are now finding it difficult to pay rentals, and even if they are not paying anyone for students, for their pupils for school, but the effect are serious, because others will be evicted in their
rented houses soon. They released some funds against the bazar areas which the ministry was owing. They had promised to pay almost 80%, but unfortunately institutions only received 20% of the bursaries which the government is owing. So we appeal to government to pay all the arrears. I think that would be a beef up to the colleges, because there are some colleges which the government is owing a lot of money for 2019-2018 bursaries.
An organization calling itself Z African Collaboratives has called for more investment in the well-being of women and girls in the country. Z African Collaborative member Nancy Kasongo says the call is based on the fact that women and girls have continued to be marginalized in communities despite several awareness campaigns. Ms. Kasongo said this in Lusaka Thursday morning at the non-governmental organization coordinating council NGOCC offices after making a donation of over 74,000 kwacha towards the women and girls programs aimed at bettering their lives. Details in this report.
Congratulations, ma'am. So that is Madam Yvonne Shibuye from President Riverside Foundation, Girl Child Project. So thank you so much.
9 charity organizations have received an amount of 8,280 kwacha each, donated by Z Africa Collaborative. The donations have been given to different charity organizations, especially those dealing with girls and women. Z Africa Collaborative team member Nancy Kasongo says the organization is happy to work hand in hand with NGOCC to identify charity organizations that deal with women.
Fundraiser is still going on in case people are still interested in supporting many of the organizations that you see here today. It was a great honor to be able to work on the project and to be able to help many organizations in our beloved country. So thank you very much, and may we put all the funds that we receive into the good efforts that we have been doing. Thank you.
Yvonne Chibuye, a beneficiary representing Riverside Congregation Girl Child Project, expresses her gratitude.
It will help us a lot. You know, there's a lot of things that needs to help a girl child. So this will be a great help, and it's so exciting that we are one of the many charities they picked us to give us this amount of money. So it will go a long way. I really appreciate it. Yes. The challenges we are facing usually is to raise money. People are not willing to donate. Well, we have had good response like this one, but we have a challenge when to raise money when we need it. That I would say that is our challenge.
Ms. Chibuye says her charity organization has been facing many challenges financially as no donors have come on board to help with their problems. Constance Mwamba reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The ruling Patriotic Front youths have donated 200 litres of hand sanitizer to Diana Kaimba Primary School in Lusaka's Matero constituency. PF National Youth Wing Executive Committee member Benjamin Siwila says the donation is towards the fight against the deadly coronavirus pandemic. Mr. Siwala says the party embraces the participation of youths in matters of national interest, hence the need to ensure that they are safe, especially in the work of the COVID-19. Details in this report. The ruling Patriotic Front youths have intensified their efforts in ensuring that the youths among them, the school-going children, do not miss a thing even as the cases of COVID-19 continue to rise. The youths on Thursday took to Diana Kaimba Primary School in Lusaka to make a donation of 200 litres of hand sanitizer to supplement the school and government's effort of protecting the pupils from contracting COVID-19. Benjamin Siwila led the youths to the school for the donation. Siwela says it is important for the youths to be healthy as they play an important role in the political dispensation of the country.
The Executive Committee is concerned about young citizens' reluctance to exercise their civic responsibilities and obligations. Year after year, many boys and girls pass the opportunity to obtain national registration cards and confirm their Zambian citizenship. With the issuance of the national registration cards exercise flagged off on the 1st of August 2020, we appeal to you, the young Zambians, to seize this opportunity to secure your natural rights. COVID-19 pandemic, and to emulate our humble Christian President Edgar Chagwa Lungu, the PF National Executive Committee is donating today 200 liters of hand sanitizer to the school or to Kaimba or Dina Kaimba school to help keep the spreads. To help keep the spread of the coronavirus among pupils.
And Diana Kaimba Primary School head teacher Modest Nondo says the donated sanitizer will be put to good use.
Targeting our youths. This is very commendable. Ladies and gentlemen, in every society, if there are people who can come over and recognize the need of the youths, then the nation will go forward. In my language we say, imiti kula empanga. So, as we go on our lives, the cardinal point is to recognize these who are coming up. So, I really thank you, the Vice National Youth Chairperson.
Meanwhile, Agnes Muchiza, a pupil at the school, thanked the PF Youth Wing for the donation.
On behalf of Diana Kaimba Primary School, I want to thank you wholeheartedly for sparing audience some of your time for your precious busy schedule. Ladies and gentlemen, secondly, I want to thank you for the donation that you have made. This shows that you have the heart for this school and the pupils.
The donation was not short of praise singers in the ward where the school is located. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka. Interesting. Now, despite several attempts, several schools needing desks in Chilanga constituency, government through the area Member of Parliament, Maria Langa, has seen it fit to donate only 40 desks. In providing desks and balances, the opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, in Chilanga district urges government to increase the number of desks to help more pupils in need of such furniture. The details in this.
2 weeks ago, government, through the Chilanga constituency Member of Parliament, Maria Langa, donated 40 desks to benefit schools in her area. This move raised eyebrows among some serving officials under the United Party for National Development, UPND. UPND's Chilanga District Chairperson, Abin Mwinga, expresses disappointment at the area lawmaker for donating only 40 desks when many schools in the district lacked more of them.
Government's donation of 40 desks to Chilanga Member of Parliament, Honorable Maria Langa, is to us an indication of a scene of no little magnitude. As UPND in Chilanga, we are dismayed and shocked that the government can directly donate 40 desks to an area Member of Parliament,
when many schools in the district lacked more of them. Mr. Mwinga says it is shameful that the lawmaker was proud to receive 40 desks when the demand for desks in the district is estimated at over 20,000. The opposition district chairperson further accuses Ms. Langa of trying to seek public sympathy for her to be adopted at all costs as candidate for MP in the next year's elections, adding that information within her confines of leadership has it that she won't be considered for adoption.
Chilanga needs over 20,000 desks to cater for schools like Mpamba, Mano, Kacheta, Kalundu, St. Michael, and many others. And it is shocking that the government can only give 40 desks to a school. To us, this is cheap politicking, and it will not go anywhere.
In her defense, the lawmaker says receiving of 40 desks meant for the constituency was a one-step-at-a-time move, and that she is aware of many schools that are lacking desks. Ms. Langa further says she has engaged DEBS to decide which school will benefit from the 40 desks.
One step at a time, my friend.
Okay.
It's just one step at a time, yes. And then the desks, of course, maybe there was a miscommunication to say they've been donated to me. They are not donated to me, they are actually donated to my constituency.
Okay.
For the schools, yes, because I've been pushing for those desks, I've been lobbying for those desks. And then I provided the transportation to bring them into Sri Lanka. At least with 40 desks, it's a good start.
For Camnet Television in Lusaka, Zambia, Namwinga Mwinga.
This is Camnet News. We take our last set of commercials. Join me shortly for international and sports news.
To create a positive difference in people's lives, one must first understand the way people live. At Savenda, we're here for our community, our partners, and our future, as a nation and as a continent.
Back in 1997, we decided we were going to create this family journey into a bigger opportunity, and created a business called Savenda, which meant save nations to develop Africa.
It's always important to give back to the people. The government cannot do everything, but as business entities, we'll be able to reach a lot of people.
From our humble beginnings in the telecoms and mining sectors to our work in energy and development projects, we know how important it is to be true to our roots.
Our services have to be diversified so that we don't depend on one income stream. Back in the village, I was growing up hunting and doing everything that a village boy would like to do. When you're hunting, you don't depend on one trap, for example. You have to have many traps. So those survival skills brought into the business created opportunities that we learned from a young age that you can't survive with just one product. Savenda Group involves Savenda Management, which is a consulting, Savenda Express, which is a corporate branding company, Savenda Electric, which is a manufacturer of energy saving bulbs, Savenda General Insurance, which is a general insurance company, Savenda Fresh Produce, Cyber Africa, which is a center for just dealing with cyber security.
Now, Savenda is combining local knowledge with international expertise. It's time to be a part of Zambia's rising success and Africa's exciting future.
We are a gateway into Africa, and now we are praying with global companies who are coming to Zambia for opportunities and to look for companies that are homegrown, and we are proud to be one of those.
Welcome back. In international news, a government-led investigation is underway in Lebanon to probe the cause of the massive explosion that ripped through the capital, Beirut. The government announced on Wednesday that those responsible for guarding the storage at Beirut's port, the epicenter of the blast, would be placed under house arrest as soon as possible. After the disaster left at least 137 dead and 5,000 people wounded. Damage from the explosion, which officials have linked to some 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate stayed at the port, may be worth of about 15 billion United States dollars, Beirut Governor Marwan Abod said. Meanwhile, a woman was in labor during the explosion. Emanuela was getting ready to give birth at St. George's Hospital in Beirut when an explosion rocked Lebanon's capital. Her husband, Edmond, captured the terrifying ordeal on camera. He spoke to BBC World News about what happened. Their son, George, arrived shortly after mum and baby were both in good health. Al Jazeera and BBC have more on these stories.
I was looking around to check where's my wife,
because all the ceiling was down. I was afraid that she might be hit or the baby was hit. We were moving to our labor room. As soon as we walked in, they were preparing her bed with the nurses and doctors. It was like 20 seconds. They were getting everything prepared and things around, and we just heard the sound, and everything was shattering around, the glass, the instruments, everything. Nothing was there, nothing. The ceiling was down. I was afraid that she might be hit or the baby was hit. She was all covered with glass. I tried getting my wife out first. I moved the bed outside, and then I started helping the nurses and doctors to get them up. She wasn't just in shock. There was no medicine. It was like old style labor.
Search and rescue teams are still digging through the rubble at Beirut port, the site of massive explosions that damaged or destroyed much of the Lebanese capital. Families are desperate for news about their loved ones. Dozens are missing. There is pain and grief. Zainab Meshek fears she will never see her husband Ali again.
I don't know where he is. I haven't heard from him since 6 p.m. Monday. I want to know if he's alive or dead.
Rescue experts from abroad have started to arrive to help a country that wasn't prepared to cope with a disaster like this.
All of us are helping each other with the army to find more corpses. There's still a lot of destruction. We need to move a destructed building to find if there is somebody else.
The blasts were felt kilometers away, killing dozens and wounding thousands. Buildings, homes, shops, all destroyed. 300,000 people displaced. Billions of dollars in damage. Investigations are focusing on possible negligence in storing tons of highly explosive material at the port.
Officials have promised assistance and compensation to those affected by the explosions, but driving around the city, the state is noticeably absent. In destroyed neighborhoods like this one, it is the people who are helping each other.
They are cleaning the streets, clearing the debris, and distributing food and water to those in need. Public anger against the political class many believe is responsible for Lebanon's near economic collapse is not new. Decades of corruption and neglect triggered an anti-establishment movement last October.
We've unfortunately gotten used to the state not being present for its citizens. We don't have proper electricity, we don't have proper garbage infrastructure, we don't have proper water infrastructures, and unfortunately the people have gotten used to it. But it's a time for change. We've been asking for change for quite some time, and I think this last catastrophe is going to make change for the country much better.
The priority now is to help the victims. Many are still in hospital in critical condition. Calls for accountability and justice are growing louder. For now, people are focused to rely on themselves.
I need money to manage myself. Nobody's paying. Can I leave everything open and go? I cannot. To be truth, Yani. So this is why I'm here. I want to clean my house, at least to sleep. I'm sleeping out the street.
Some may call it resilience, but for many this is about survival. Nearly half the population of 5 million Lebanese were below the poverty line before this disaster. The situation has since got worse.
That was Zaina Hodder reporting from Beirut. Well, Tatiana Hazrouti is a Beirut resident whose father works at the port. He's amongst those missing. She describes the process of trying to look for him. Sad story there in Beirut. We can only wish those people well as they try to stabilize their economy due to the blast. And we now look at sports news. In sports news, the MTN FAS Super League, which was supposed to close its curtains Thursday, will only be decided on Sunday after the Zanaco and Forest Rangers game, which will be played this coming week. The decision follows a successful appeal by Forest Rangers, who lost 3 points to Zanaco after the game between the two sides failed to take off on account of 27 Forest Rangers players testing positive of COVID-19. After the game was bolted, FAS decided to award Zanaco 3 points, but Forest Rangers appealed through FAS Appeals Committee, arguing that as Peru in the new normal, every team has to submit COVID-19 results before the match for all players and team officials, which Zanaco never did. This means that Nkana and Forest Rangers remain in contention of the trophy. Nkana is currently with 50 points with 27 games played, while Forest Rangers is with 49 points with 26 games played. What this means rather is that if Forest Rangers wins against Zanaco, this will move to 52 points, thereby winning the prestigious title. Meanwhile, here are the results for the FAS MTN Super League Week 27 as of Thursday, 6th August 2020. Forest Rangers is 1, Napsa Stars 0, Zanaco United 1, Bread Arrows 1, Bood Coin is on 3, and Green Buffaloes 1, Nkwazi 1, Kansanshi Dynamos 1, Green Eagles 2, and Lusaka Dynamos 0. Zanaco is 1 and Lumwana Radiance 1 as well. Well, that sporting item brings us to the end of our news, but before we go, the headlines once again. Kasempa's Luwofu ward residents in election boho bonanza. COVID-19 claims 23 more lives as Tebet workers go for months without salaries. ZRA boss Kingsley Chanda unleashes venom on the Chamber of Mines. In international news, Beirut blast pushes economy on edge as many remain missing. And finally, in sports news, FAS MTN Super League champions to be decided on Sunday. That's all we could accommodate for you on the news desk. But before we just leave, let's look at the Camnet verse for the day. And it's coming from the book of Mark 10:27, and it reads, Jesus looked at them and said, with man it is impossible, but not with God, for all things are possible with God. Remember to stay within the guidelines of the new normal, that is masking up, keeping social distancing of at least 1 meter, and sanitizing your hand as often as possible to avoid the spread of COVID-19. My name is Sharon Kalimbula. Thank you so much for staying with us. Keep watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.